Hello, my name is Trey Francis, and I am a screenwriter and an actor, and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, as I am a new YouTuber, and I'm trying to grow my channel and, provide content that I could sort of share with you all. So in this episode of Scene by Scene, we are going to be discussing, it's going to be an Insecure review. So this is for season 4, episode 6. It was directed by Lacey Duke, and it was written by Fran Richer. So we open up on this. We open up on this on Issa in this episode. We open up on her in bed. She's sort of hearing the words that Molly sort of said to her in the previous episode. You know, you ain't good for nothing. You know, you're a failure. You're a user, basically. Just things like this, right? So we kind of hear these words, and Issa is pondering these words. She's sort of very sad, and so she gets up and she checks her voicemails, and she's listening to her family and friends. They're basically checking in on her to make sure that she's okay. You hear from her brother Amal, you hear from Kelly, and a few other people about the vendors. I think it was one of them was her assistant. And she also checks her Facebook page, and she sees that, hey, like, she's actually getting a lot of love from her Facebook page, the event page for her block party. People really enjoyed it. People loved it. People were happy that Vince Staples were there, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So then Issa has a mirror moment, and basically her mirror moment is her mirror moment is a representation of her conscience, right? And so her mirror, herself in the mirror, tells her to let Molly reach out to her. Like, Issa's tired of always being the first person to reach out and apologize to them. Just like, I don't know if I necessarily have seen that in this seasons, but if we have, I feel like based off of the relationship between Issa and Molly, with Molly deeming Issa to be the fuck up, I'm assuming Issa would be the friend that is apologizing more by doing trifling stuff. So, but Issa's mirror person convinces her, hey, like, nah, like, chill, kick it, do you, have your self-care Sunday, and let Molly figure this shit out, and she'll come to you, and she needs to apologize and hit you up first, right? So Issa agrees, and she's gonna have herself a self-care Sunday. So she starts by cleaning her apartment, which is very much something that I do. If I'm sad, I'm depressed, whatever it can be, that's something that I usually do too. I get in a cleaning spirit. I will clean everything. I will sanitize everything. I wipe everything from top to bottom. From the ceiling fans on down to like sweeping and mopping the floor. Like, I will literally do everything. So I was like, that's definitely like, what a lot of people do, I feel like. So she cleans her apartment, and then she ends up receiving a call from Nathan. So Nathan calls, and Issa, he's sort of like congratulating her for the success of her event, and Issa apologizes to him for kind of dragging him into her and Molly's mess, and she says that she wasn't trying to use him, because remember, that's sort of the perspective that Molly has on the whole situation. Like, Molly didn't want to be used, and she didn't want Issa to use her man during this time because they were not on good terms. However, we still find out in the last episode, right, that Issa went behind Molly's back. She overstepped a boundary that was clear to me that Molly set up. She overstepped that boundary, and she asks Nathan. She reaches back out to Nathan out of the blue, right? Out of the blue, and says, hey, like, basically, can you help me get Vince Staples into, as my headliner for my block party? And Nathan asks his roommate, which is Andrew, and Andrew obliges, right? So he says, nah, like, he was cool with it, and that he actually wanted to help Issa. He didn't feel any type of way about helping Issa. So then Issa's at the grocery store, and because self-care Sunday, for her is, a bottle of wine, and she has this event that she's going to go to, which is a paint and sip. We don't know this at this point, but essentially she went to the store to bring her own bottle of wine to the paint and sip. They'll supply the art, you BYOB, right? So she's in line, and against her greater conscience, which I was saying earlier, right? Her mirror self. She's in line, and this pregnant woman starts to come up the line, kind of asking different people, like, hey, like, can you help me? Can you help me? I'm pregnant. Like, I need help. I don't have the money to pay for my groceries. And Issa's mirror self, she sees herself in the mirror, and it's kind of like, nah, like, don't do it. Of course, Issa caves, and she goes to do it. and the girl gets up there with her groceries, and mind you, Issa just had a bottle of wine, so the girl puts her stuff up there, and the total comes out to basically $160, and Issa was like, well, damn. But she takes her card out, she goes to swipe it, and it's declined. So she like, can I do it again? The girl's like, yeah. So Issa goes, she swipes it again, and the girl's like, you know what? It's declined, and that's not gonna change. So so the girl's like, you know what? You taught me a lesson. Like, I'm good to go, girl. I'm gonna peace out. Like, thanks. Like, you taught me a lesson on perspective. So she leaves, and Issa just like, okay, so we'll just take the bottle of wine, and she goes on her way. So as Issa's on her journey to get to the paint and sip, she's at this stoplight or whatever, and she sees this elderly man who's running after the bus, and that's missing, right? They're gonna drive off without him, and so he can't catch the bus, so he sits down on the bench, and as Issa kind of looks, she's kind of like, damn, like, and so she wants to go help him, right? And so she makes the ride, and she pulls over, she asks the guy, like, hey, like, where are you going? Like, if you're going north, where I'm going, like, I can give you a ride to your destination. And at first he's like, I don't fuck with I don't fuck with, Ubers and Lyfts and stuff like that. And she's like, nah, I'm cool. Like, I'm not, I drive for Lyft, but I'm not on the clock right now. If you want, this is just me being a friendly person offering you a ride. So he agrees, he gets in the car. He's a rude motherfucker. He's rude, but he starts clowning Issa just about her. What was he saying? I kind of wrote some stuff down in my notes. But basically, Issa's asking him where he's going and whatever. And she tries to put it in the app. He's like, nah, that's gonna send my stuff to the government. Which, a lot of people in our community, we have that fear. And so then she asks, okay, well, I guess, do you know how to get there? He's like, well, damn, you asking a lot of questions. Like, if you're gonna help a brother out, you're gonna help him out. Like, just go north. He said, go north on La Brea, and I'll tell you when to pull over. So then I was just like, well, houses ain't on La Brea like that. So I was like, I started to think, was he homeless? Because I've seen people get on stops. I've seen people, because I've ridden the bus. There was a point when I was riding the bus out in LA, and I've seen people get on the bus just to go north or south, east, west, whatever case may be, just to get off and just be in a different location. And it had nothing to do with them necessarily going anywhere. So I thought that was hilarious, because it started to make me feel like this was a homeless person, right? So, so as Issa is driving George, we find out that this guy, I was about to say the homeless guy, we find out that the guy that she picks up, right, his name is George. So as she's driving him to this destination, he spots a club, like an old club that him and his boys used to go to, and he talks about how they used to run trains on women and stuff like this, and how they were ladies and men, and how they used to have a good time at this club. And he says something that sort of like stuck out, sort of like an aha moment, sort of something that hit Issa. And he says that that him and his boys, they went separate ways, and then he says that he should have seen the signs that the shit wouldn't last. There's always a sign. So we know that's gonna be something that hits Issa, because look what's going on with her friendship. And so for her, remember, she said both of them sort of iterated how like they should have sort of cut the friendship a long time ago, because they've been having these thoughts for years now, I guess, and neither one of them were willing to address it, and they sort of kind of kept sticking it out to sort of see where it would go. And this is confirmation a little bit to Issa, like, well, damn, like maybe I should have seen the signs and did something about it earlier, like cut Molly off earlier, right? So that hits Issa. So then George needs to go to the restroom. So Issa pulls over at the laundromat. He runs in. He comes back out, and he starts hollering at a homeless man. So then he starts hollering at a homeless man that he thinks is Charles. So this is like, I'm like, okay, so he's homeless too, because how do you know this person? And yes, there are people who know homeless people, but I don't feel like you see them like that and just start hollering at them. So, and he talks about how Charles went from the lower ghetto to the upper ghetto, and how he feels like now he's too good for him. So then, so Issa, she drops George off at this place. He pulls out this photo. He's like, "Yep, this is the place." So he gets out, and as Issa drives, he rings the doorbell or whatever, and a guy opens the door, and he's like, "Dad," and basically insinuating that he left him when he was a little boy or whatever the case would be. It hasn't been in his life, and so he just ran up on him now, trying to see his son. So I thought that was fucking hilarious. So Issa, so now Issa gets to the paint and sip, and she sees some girls who are sort of it's like a wedding party, if you will. It's some women out who also went to the paint and sip, and essentially they're just having like one last hurrah before she gets married. I think she's getting married over the weekend or whatever the case may be, and so they just wanted to have some fun. So one of the girls is played by, her name is Dina. She's played by Kyla Pratt, whom we love. We all grew up on her, right? And so she's the bride. She's the bride. And so they're at the paint. They're sitting down. They're talking. They're keying about just about Issa sort of being from LA and like who she knows and what kind of stuff like that. And this kind of flies by this bar scene. It's not much. It's not much that they're kind of setting up with this scene, but just sort of like Issa sort of I think connecting with women. And so as Issa gets up to leave this place because the paint and sip is over, one of the girls asks Issa, "Hey, like, would you like to go down to the bar with us? We were thinking about going to kick it there. Would you like to come with us?" So so Issa then has another. She looks over. She sees her reflection in the glass, whatever, and her mirrored self is like, like, go have fun, like, enjoy yourself. Like, this will keep your mind off of the whole situation with you and Molly, and about how your block party ended, right? It was a success, but it ended on a bad note. So she's like, go have fun, enjoy yourself, right? You're doing self-care Sunday. Let's keep it going. So Issa goes out with the girls. They start to ask her, like, what does she do? And so she comes up with this fancy title for what she does. She's explaining to them that, hey, I work with celebrities or influential people, whatever the case may be. And she lets them know about her block party and like how she had Vince Staples there. So they're gassing her up, right? They're bigging her up. They're making her feel good about herself, which we kind of get the image of like, this is something that her best friend, Molly, should have done. But we didn't necessarily see her do, right? We didn't necessarily see like, hey, like, congratulations, like, you did that. She did kind of speak it to Andrew, but she really didn't say anything to Issa about it. So this sort of, we kind of see like this difference between these new set of girls who are willing and ready to sort of speak up for Issa and big her up, and then we kind of get this contrast between them with Molly and how she reacted to the whole thing with Issa. So at the end of this, Issa gets up to go to the restroom with one of the girls, and one of the girls is asking her about like the different guys, like, where can I find? She's like, where can we find like a man out here in LA and to have a good time with? And Issa starts telling them about the different locations in LA, like, you go to Las Feliz or whatever like this, you're gonna find some the hipsters. You go downtown, you're gonna find this type of guy. You go over here, you're gonna do Pasadena, you're gonna find the married guy, which is true. You're gonna find the married guy or whatever the case would be. So there and a few other spaces. So anyways, so as Issa's explaining this, she asked the girl a question and the girl doesn't respond. Issa, she looks into the stall, the girl's gone. So she goes back out, she's looking for the girls, they're nowhere to be found. So Issa sees like a crumbled up piece of paper, like a folded piece of paper, she unfolds it, and basically on it, it says that this is Dina's bachelorette weekend LA scavenger hunt, right? And it has like these different tasks that they were supposed to do. And so Issa realizes that she's been got, like she got essentially. The bar comes over to her and basically says like, hey, you can pay this tab whenever you're ready. So we already saw that earlier in this episode. Issa don't have the money, so she speeds out of the restaurant and she's looking for the girls. And when she spots them, she imagines herself running up on one of the girls and like hitting them over the head with her artwork. However, we realize that's not the case. Issa sort of sees the girls, she looks at them, maybe sees like a younger self, or maybe sees her with like, maybe this is something that her and Molly would have done when they were younger, and she kind of looks at them and she lets them go, right? She doesn't address them, she doesn't confront them. So we're seeing this sort of mirror Issa's real life about how she had opportunities. There were opportunities. There were moments. Like Molly was actually trying to have a conversation, right? And Issa avoided. So we're seeing some avoidance from Issa. We're seeing Issa not being able to sort of have the grown-up conversations that she should be having when you're 30, 31. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be this hard to have these conversations. Yes, they're muddy, right? It's muddy water. However, if this is your best friend, and I told my friends this, like never feel uncomfortable approaching me about anything. Like, I'm your best friend. Like, talk to me. Like, we can have this conversation. Like, it's gonna be cool at the end of the day. But what's up? What happened, right? So then, um, so like I said, Issa lets him off the hook. So, we see um Issa feeling sad for herself right after this happens. So Issa goes and she calls her mom as she's headed back to her place. She calls her mom and then she goes over to her mom's place. So as they're talking about the block party and why Issa didn't invite her mom, the mom senses something off about Issa, and I thought they captured a beautiful moment because sometimes a hug is exactly what you need. And so as Issa's talking or whatever, her mom tells her to come here because Issa was sitting on the counter, and Issa's like, what? And the mom's like, come here. So Issa gets up, she gives her a hug, and as soon as her mom embraces Issa, she unravels. She's overwhelmed with emotion and she begins to sob, right? And that's just what you need sometimes. Being honest, like sometimes you just need someone to hold you. Sometimes you just need a good cry. Sometimes, like, I'm feeling something right now just saying that. Like, I've been going through some stuff since a couple of weeks, and that's why I fell off for some of my videos. But I've been going through some shit, and so me just saying that, it makes me realize how much I miss hugs, because hugs mean a lot to me. Hugs are important to me, embracing the ones that I love and I care about, be it family or friends. Yeah, so yeah, Issa, her mom hugs her, she sobs, she cries. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get through this. She sobs, she cries, she breaks down, and then we see that they're both on the couch, and Issa has explained to her mom about the situation with Molly, and her mom goes on and says something that is very important, that I found very important. And it was in contrast to what George, right, the hitchhiker guy, had said to Issa earlier. So, Issa's mom says, Issa goes on to explain how, that it was just a mistake, and that she was talking about her Issa and her brother, and she said that they were a mistake because she didn't even, I guess the doctors had told her that she was unable to get pregnant, and so Issa was like, so we were a mistake, and the mom was like, yes, like twice, like I had two mistakes because I did not think I was able to get pregnant, but here you are. And she said, she wanted to say, Issa says that that's earth shattering to hear, right? That hurts to hear. Her mom says, well, it was earth shattering for me too, but I figured it out, and y'all ended up being the best parts of my life. So at this moment, this is another aha moment, right? Like, even though someone makes a mistake, which I can agree, although I don't think the Molly slander is warranted at the degree at which it's being held at right now. However, I do think it was fucked up of her to mess up Issa's block party in that way. Like, I think you don't address someone then and there at something that's big for them, right? We know that Issa has spent, I guess, about a year, right, working on this. Like, don't fuck that over. Don't rain on someone's parade. That's just something that you do not do. And we saw that Molly had no problem doing that in that moment, and I get it. She was pissed off. She felt Issa overstepped the boundary, and so she confronted her. She stepped to her right then and there. However, that's something that you don't do. So the mom says, I read it again, it was earth shattering for me too, but I figured it out, and y'all ended up being the best parts of my life, meaning Issa and her brother. And then she goes on to say that Issa and Molly are built the same way, and that Issa will figure it out, that they'll figure it out, that they're built the same way. So remember that. The mom knows Issa better than George. So although Issa had that aha moment with George where the words that he said hit her as well, her mom's words, I feel like they're going to hold a little bit more weight, only because her mom knows Issa and Molly, and she understands the relationship and the dynamics of the friendship that they've had thus far, right? So as Issa is headed home, she gets a call from Kelly, and Kelly has been trying to reach out to Issa this whole episode. She's called her, she's left voicemails, texted her. Issa was kind of just like didn't want to be bothered, which I understand. I'm sort of that way too. When if things aren't going right, like don't talk to me right now. Like let me have a moment, let me have a minute, and then give me a second. I'll come around and we'll talk. But like I need a moment. So Issa was needing a moment. A lot happened to her, and so she needed a moment. So she's on the phone with Kelly, and Kelly tells Issa essentially that she needs to reach out to Molly and so that they can talk this over. So they can talk this over and move on. And Issa's like, "Are you keeping the same energy with Molly? Like, why do you keep calling me, telling me this?" And Kelly's like, "Yeah, I've been calling her. I've been hitting her up too. Y'all both need to talk about this and move on." So Issa says that she doesn't want to be the first one to reach out, and Kelly's like, "Well, if she doesn't call you, y'all ain't gonna never talk again. Like that's what you're saying, like." And that hit home for me because that's something that sort of happened and with the friendship of mine. And I actually made a whole video about it. And then I thought about it a lot and I was just like, I can't put this up right now. But I wanted to talk about the dynamics between the relationship of Issa and Molly because I went through something like this with a best friend of mine. She was a part of my best friend group. And just some shit happened. We ended up falling out. There was a reach out. There was an extension by me of saying like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, are we going to talk about this? We're going to work this out. I believe we were supposed to meet up. It didn't quite happen. The person, I guess, wasn't comfortable with doing it. And thus, we haven't spoken since. And it's been a year and some change now. So it does happen. This really hit home for me when Kelly said that to Issa because it literally be we just don't hit each other up again, and now we're no longer talking. So then Issa she ponders this, right? So she steps into her place and she decides she's gonna smoke, she's gonna dance a little, and that she's gonna start responding to all the messages from her Facebook event page regarding the block party, all the positive messages that she receiving. So she gets on there, she's responding. It's good, she's good, she feels good. She's gonna end the night well, right? This is her self-care Sunday. And she's not gonna let anything fuck up, the couple of hours she has left, right? So then Issa, she heads over to the Ethiopian restaurant and remember to pick up some food, right? Remember, this was a restaurant that Molly took Issa to on her birthday. Molly took Issa to this on her birthday in the first episode of the first season. This is where Molly took Issa for her birthday when Lawrence was broke, tired, and dusted, and busted, and rusted, and everything else, and forgot her birthday. A loser. Forgot her birthday and didn't take her out, right? He's sitting on the couch talking about, let me watch these muscle men. And I'm just like, Lawrence is still as skinny, if not skinnier, than he was in the first season. Now he looked good. He looked good. He looks good than a mother. He looks good. He's attractive. He's tall. He's lean muscle, right? But I'm like, he's still skinny. So this is the same place. And so remember what the mom said. She said, y'all cut from the same cloth. Y'all are one and the same, right? So Issa's skipping up. She's ready to get her food. Guess who she sees through the window? None other than Molly. It's Molly, her best friend, sitting that she's not on good terms with, sitting at the bar on her phone. She's texting someone and she's by herself. And I noticed she wasn't as put together as she usually is. So the writers, right? The writer's room and the writer who wrote this did really well at representing Molly sort of being in a down state too. And I hope Issa was able to see that. I hope she was like, oh, this bitch in here and she's enjoying herself and she ain't thinking about me. But Molly looked not like Molly. Like Molly, her hair wasn't done like that. Her clothing was just dismal for Molly, you know what I mean? Like it was all oversized. Usually when it's form fitted, she's put together, it was sort of oversized. She's sitting there, her head was down. So the imagery kind of was letting us know that Molly was also not necessarily in a good space either. So Issa sees her and it stops her in her tracks. She looks over at her mirrored self, her conscience, right? She looks over, and conscience has nothing for Issa. She has nothing. Usually she's giving Issa advice. Usually she's hyping Issa up. Usually she's saying, yeah, do this. No, don't do this. At this point, her conscience is like, I don't know what you should do. And like we saw, Issa in this episode, she's had conflicting sort of perspectives, right? Um, so Issa pauses. She looks and she's like, I ain't gonna go in here. So Issa bounces. She's chucked them deuces up and she's like, I'm getting out of here. So the episode, that's basically how the episode ends. Issa being unsure of what she wants to do, if she wants to talk to Molly or if she doesn't care to talk to Molly, if she still ain't fucking with Molly, whatever the case may be. That's where we're at. So that's how it ends. And I like this episode. It was slower than, of course, than the last one, right? The last one had a little bit more going on because that was the big fight, right? But in the aftermath of something like this, you are sort of down. You do become a little bit more reflective, and you kind of think on your actions, sort of like how Issa was doing at the beginning of the video. You think on what the person said to you, like why they said it. Is it true? Like, should I take this to heart? Like, there's so many different things. And so then, like I said, I'm a cleaner too. I will clean the fuck out of a place. I will, sit in that space. And so that's what we kind of see Issa doing in this episode. So it'll be nice to kind of see where we're going to go with this. It'll also, friendship. It'll also be nice to see where we're going to go with the whole thing regarding Tiffany, because we've had this storyline sort of building up about the postpartum and things like this with Tiffany and, her sort of distance from her baby, not feeling connected to her child, and sort of Derek stepping up and doing what a father should just normally do. But I mean, stepping up and feeling, I guess, some of the role of the child's mother, sort of not really feeling that connection yet. Which is fine, I believe we'll get there, right? But hoping we kind of dive into that story, because I think it's an interesting topic and it'll be something interesting to see on TV, especially with two beautiful dark-skinned, Tiffany's light-skinned black woman, but I mean, we're following the story of two dark-skinned women, so how that'll kind of interplay and stuff like this. So, I guess I should say on a show about two beautiful dark-skinned women, but Tiffany, who is of a lighter complexion, it's her child. But, so yeah, that's all I have for this episode. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you're new here, if you would like to just, please consider subscribing. Please consider sharing, liking, watching some of my older reviews, because we started reviewing this season from the 3rd episode on. So this should be my 4th episode going up for this season. So yeah, I'm going to peace out and thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.